Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. I'll start us off with a few logistical items, provide a quick overview of Index.io, and then we'll dive right into the demo presentation. This will be a 20-minute presentation. Please hit the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen to type in your questions throughout the session. We will be recording this, and a link to the recording will be included in the follow-up email. So as you probably know, the legal world is facing many challenges with electronic discovery. Data accessibility, scalability, management, and overwhelming costs, to name a few. Data continues to increase in size exponentially, and old solutions are failing to keep up. But we can help. Welcome to Index.io, a new horizon of corporate data indexing that takes the latest technologies and creates the most comprehensive and advanced electronic discovery tool in the industry. Built from scratch in the cloud, Index.io is fast, effective, and secure, making it the obvious choice for your electronic discovery needs. Although Index.io covers the full e-discovery waterfront, we deliver way more in value and capabilities. Index.io is a true do-it-yourself intuitive platform. We'll demonstrate today how you can get up and running in minutes without ever talking to a sales rep or ever utilizing a project manager. Next, Index.io's auto-scale technology cuts traditional processing times from days to minutes while ensuring quick, accurate results every time. With unmatched search speeds, you always have instant access to the critical items you need for your case. We also offer a free mobile iPad app. With this easy, intuitive, and secure app, you can review, code, redact, and organize your e-discovery documents no matter where you are. Your work is automatically reflected in Index.io, and you are always in sync with your project. And finally, Index.io is the only e-discovery solution that provides a daily hosting model. This allows more predictable billing, easier project management, and eliminates minimum hosting charges. There are no long-term restricting contracts, no licensing fees, no user fees, and no minimums per month. Additionally, there is no software or special hardware to purchase. During today's webinar, Austin, a support representative here at Index.io, will run you through the Index.io export process, as well as lead an Ask the Expert Q&A session to answer any questions you might have about the product.
All right, thanks for that intro, Jess, and thanks to everybody for joining us today. Like she mentioned, go ahead and hit that Q&A button at the bottom of your webinar screen and enter your questions as we run through today. I'm going to start us off with a topic that we've gotten a lot of questions about lately, and that's export. One of our recent updates changed how export works a little bit, so I'm going to walk you guys through a quick example here while we get some questions posted. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to do a quick keyword search here just to get a data set here. I'm going to tag these for export. I'm going to make sure I tag with related items because I want all of the attachments to these to be included as well on my tag. So there we go. We're going to apply that to our set. And now I'm going to switch over to the export tab here. So we'll add our first export, give it a name, select the collections we want to include, and enter that tag we just set up. And then it's going to give me a quick summary down here at the bottom of the number of pages, items, some warnings if we had any processing exceptions or duplicates or redacted items included. It'll let you know about those and let you know if you want to include or exclude those. Once we're all set, I'm going to hit that I've reviewed and move to the next page. So this window is going to let you select your output options. You can choose PDF or TIFF images, as well as the raw text that we extracted or OCR'd from your documents. There's options for native PDFs, and that's just the unbranded, no endorsements, the one that we make during processing, or your original native files. And let me show you guys a quick example of what those are going to look like once you get them back out. So here's an export that I've run in the system. You can see we've got our load files. The OPT file gets included for TIFF images automatically. So if you go into your image folder, you're going to see a TIFF image for each page of your export. You can go back and look at the native copy. That's going to be, since these were emails, the original MSG file for all of those records. There's also one for the native PDF. So this is our just unendorsed, just the PDF that gets made automatically. Or you can come back and look at the actual endorsed PDF. These are going to have the Bates number labeled in the bottom right and any other endorsements that you want to apply during your export process. And last but not least, just the raw plain text of any of these records. So that's those settings here. I'm going to pick for our example just PDFs, text, and let's do natives as well. And I want to do these in color. You also have the option to do color for specific items. If you want to set up a tag in advance, maybe you only want your photos to come out in color. That'll speed your export up a little bit. You can also choose to automatically placeholder spreadsheets or PowerPoint presentations or records that you've tagged in advance. Down at the bottom here, you're just going to pick your load file and then move to the next step. So here we'll pick out our naming scheme. I'm going to do a prefix of emails. I don't need a delimiter on these. I just wanted to show the number. And let's start at 400. I can also add other endorsements here. I'm going to put a confidential label on these records. And for the native files, I'm going to leave them Bates numbered. I don't want them to have their original name. So you'll hit next. It's going to give you a nice summary of all the settings that you've just picked out. You can hit start export, and then it's going to spin up servers, do all that endorsement, make a zip file for you, and then you'll come back to this page and download it. If you do need to get any fancier with your export, say you need specific metadata to be provided, or they have requirements for how you format your dates in your load file, you can come back to step 2 and create a custom load file. So we'll give that a name. You can pick a different starter template if you want. I'm going to leave it on our IIO CSV because that has all of the fields already included. But you can come down here, turn fields on or off. You can even add new fields. I'm going to add a tag field because I want to identify duplicate items in our production. I'll enter the header name and then put in the duplicate tag. So anything that has been identified as a duplicate is going to get marked as such in your load file. And you can do that for any of the tags that have been created in your project. Here at the top, you can change the delimiters and some of the other special characters that show up if there's special requirements for that, or change your date and time format here. There's a helpful little button here that's going to show you what all of our short codes mean, so you can get exactly what you need. Once you've set that up, just come down to the bottom and hit save. And you'll see now you can select that load file format as well. So we're going to go to the end. I'll kick that export off. You'll see it spin up here. It'll tell you what output types you picked, who created it, what your Bates numbers are. Once it finishes up, it'll give you an end Bates number, and it'll show you your progress as it runs through here. So that's export. Pretty straightforward now that we've changed it up a little bit. Tried to make it very easy and minimize the amount of selections you have to pick while you go through there. Jess, have we got any questions that we need to answer so far?
We do have a few questions. The first one is there an easy way to search for attachments to emails?
To search for attachments to emails, there is. So if you go up to the advanced search bar at the top here, that's with this little drop down at the end. There's a flag you can scroll down to that's called is top parent resource. And so drag that out, and that's a true or false field. So if I set that to false, it's going to show me all attachments. And if I set that to true, it's going to show me all of the top parent emails or resources.
Okay, great. The next question is, how would someone set up data for a review?
Okay, so we have a easy from any of your search results or any of the list views that you have. There's a batch button right here. So you'll hit create a batch. Let's give it a name. Let's call these emails. You can choose how many files you want in each batch. It looks like we have about 500 in this list, so I'm going to make that number a little bit bigger. So we only have one batch here. There's a toggle that'll keep families together, so if you have attachments included in your list results here, it'll keep them next to it in your batch. So you'll hit start. And then I'm going to go back to the main home page here. And those batches are going to show up down here once they've been created. Let me refresh the page and see if those have been generated yet. There you can see the first one's starting to go there. So it'll take a little bit to pull those into a group for you. But once you've batched them up, you'll be able to come here and track your review progress, go into just your not reviewed or your reviewed set by clicking on the actual numbers here. You can assign them to specific users. If you want to come up here, you can assign them to roles as well. So I'm just going to assign it to all of our project admins and hit save. And now you can see over in my batches, I've got that emails batch set up as well since it's been assigned to me. So over here on the side, you can track the same progress as from your home page. All right.
Okay. The next question is, do you have anywhere that people can request new features?
We do. We actually are relaunching our community section. So if you click on support over here on the side, you can come down and click on community. That's going to take you to our Zendesk community where you can ask questions and get help from other members, or you can come into our feature request section and post a feature that you think would be cool to have in the system. We keep track of this and we'll see what kind of interest the community has and use that to kind of gauge new features that we want to include in the platform.
Okay, great. The next question is, how can I find a specific event in the audit log?
Okay, that's a great question. So for those of you who don't know, our audit log is available in the admin area, and this is going to track everything that happens in the project. You can see I've viewed some pages I just created and assigned that batch a minute ago, ran some searches. Everything that happens gets logged here. So you can download that in the top right with this button. I'm going to download that report, open it up. So once you're in Excel here, it's going to show you the date, the person, the action details, the same view that you'll have when you're in the actual project. But you can use Excel to come up here and set a filter, and then look at the action section and decide which type of action you want to look at. So I'm going to go in and see create batch. Let's just look at those events. And you can see this morning I created that batch that we just saw happen. So that's how you'll get in. You'll have to do it through Excel after you download that, and you can set filters on your headers there and look at specific events.
Okay, so the next question is, when exporting data, either as a PDF or native, is there a way to export in a particular sequence? For example, by format or file name or date created, etc.
So we have, there's a default sort system. We actually have a help article on that. Let me get it over to that section. We can set custom sort orders, but that's going to be a request. You'll have to come over to contact us and send us an email, and on our support team will get that sort order set for you. That's kind of reflected across the whole project. So when you view your data, it's going to be in the same order that you'll export it unless you're doing custom views. But let me get this article up that I'm talking about and expand on that a little bit. How is your export set sorted? So it's going to, first off, you're going to have the first made custodian is going to be your primary sorting, and then it's going to do collections alphabetically and then files by date. So it is a little involved in that there's a few different sorts that are going on all at the same time, but it's going to be reflected in your list. So if you come in and look at your set, go over to browse here, the same way that you see your files here is the same way they're going to come out when you actually export. And if you need a different sorting, you can send that info to us and we'll help get it organized for you. That's a little different than if you switch over to the grid view here. You can sort on like title or path or set some custom views just for your own use in the system. But those are temporary. That won't be how the export's actually sorted unless you submit a request and have us reorder things for you.
All right, the next question is, can I control what users see?
Yeah, you definitely can. That's another thing from the admin area. So if you come up here and go over to user roles, let's look at role user here. You can see I've already got one tag applied, so my users in this project don't see any duplicates. You can add other tags that you want in here. I want to hide maybe privileged items, or say let's only give them access to these batches. And you can also choose which tabs they can view down here at the bottom. In this project, I've got it set so that my users don't see pre or post-processing tabs or the custodians tab. All they're going to see is collections, tags, and reports, just the basic stuff they're going to come in and need to see for their review.
All right, well, that's all we have for questions.
Okay, great. Well, if anybody else has any other questions that come up later, definitely hit that contact button, reach out to us via phone or email or live chat. We'll definitely get you squared away, and we'll be sending out a recording to this as well for anyone to review if they want to come back to it. But thanks to everybody for joining us.